First of all, I want to make an announcement, to you guys. If it gets a little bit colder, I might let you come to practice. Just a little bit.
I'm in.
Just because you wouldn't come.
I would.
Soft, man, soft. All right, so, most important thing I think in this game is, great practice habits, technically work on the things that you need to do to go execute. You're going to play against a good player. They have a lot of good players. You need to know exactly what to do, how to do it, why it's important to do it that way. So when it comes to the game, you're not really thinking about it. You can do it automatically. And that takes great preparation and focus. And that's what's going to help you have success in the game. And that's what guys have to stay focused on. You can't worry about what anybody else says or thinks or does. You got to worry about what you got to do. And I think that's the most important thing for our team right now.
Hey, Coach. You've been a part of a lot of these. With Tommy facing Brian Kelly this week, how has he approached this week, and how's he really started to settle in as the OC?
Brian Kelly has been a really, really good coach wherever he's been for a long, long time. He's smart. They've got great system offensively. Players are well coached. They got discipline. They play hard. They play with toughness. They play with great intangibles. He's got a winning process that has worked, at Notre Dame, Cincinnati, every place he's ever coached. I've always had a tremendous amount of respect for him, and I think he's doing an outstanding job there. I mean, they went to the SEC championship game last year, and got a really, really good team this year. So I think he's doing an outstanding job.
Real quick, you had a Paul Houston.
Yeah, more so about Tommy and him facing off. What have you seen from Tommy this week, just in terms of how he's approached going against his old head coach?
I don't think anything different. Tommy works hard and tries to do the best he can to help our players to play well in the game. I don't think in these kind of games you want to sort of try to, I don't know what you would call it, do a lot of new stuff because the players need to have confidence in what you're doing, and they gain confidence in doing that through, cumulative reps throughout the course of the season. And if you just make a bunch of changes, they start looking at you like, don't you think we can execute what we've been doing? So I think you got to be a little careful, but I don't see that happening. I think he's focused on trying to get our players in the right spots to do the right things that help them have a chance to be successful.
When you watch Herold Perkins on video, what are your thoughts about him in terms of the explosiveness, first step quickness, and not just rushing the passer, but he gets out on the perimeter and makes plays to the sideline too?
Yeah, he makes plays all over the place. This guy's really, really good athlete, really good player, very explosive. Sometimes they play him out in the apex. He's a great blitzer. He can play like star and reroute people and make plays in the passing game. Sometimes he plays in the box. Sometimes he plays on the edge. He's got great first step quickness. He's a good pass rusher. That's why he, has so many tackles for loss and sacks and things like that. But I think this guy is one of the most dynamic players in our league.
With Texas, Tennessee, and now LSU, what's the recruiting benefit to having so many marquee games at home in one season?
I think it's great for our fans that we have, quality opponents that come here and they have an opportunity to, cheer our team on. I think the atmosphere and environment that's been created in all of our games this year has been phenomenal. I think it's going to be really, really important in this game. I thought it was absolutely as good as it ever gets in the Tennessee game, which I think had an impact on the game and affected them. And I think it's going to be important that we have that same kind of atmosphere in this game. But I think it's exciting for our fans. I know our players, love playing in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and big games are, always something that you look forward to playing, especially in front of an enthusiastic home crowd.
Continuing with the Herold Perkins topic, what is the challenge of simulating what he does from a scout team defense perspective, and then on the offensive end, being able to identify him
Well,
every play?
I don't think you can simulate it. You know, I just, you know, players got to watch the film. If we had somebody that could play like him, they'd be playing. So they wouldn't be on the scout team. And so, you know, I mean, we do the best we can, and I think our guys do a really good job, both sides of the ball, trying to give a good look, you know, to the defensive players. But, you know, it's hard to simulate. It's hard to be that deep on your team and be able to simulate. It's one of the reasons that we go good on good, you know, some in practice, so that now the good guys are playing against the good guys. So hopefully you got somebody playing star that is explosive, whether it's Caleb Downs or, you know, Malachi or whoever, who is a little faster, a little quicker, and, you know, can be challenging. And you know, our players need to understand and respect, why do we go good on good? You know, it's to help each other get better, because you're going to play against a good player on Saturday. You get a chance to play against a good player in practice. Challenge yourself to do things the right way, and I think it helps you get better. But we don't have somebody here on the scout team that can simulate what number 4 does, because the guy's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, you've talked about the 60-minute game and maintaining intensity for 60 minutes. Players have talked about it too. What do you think it's going to take for that to finally happen for this team to get that in a full 60-minute game?
Well, they have to make a choice and a decision to do it. All right, they got to understand the level of intensity that has to be sustained, the sense of urgency that has to be sustained, and how smart you have to be, which goes back to the preparation that you had, so that you're not making mental errors, because you're playing smart and you're playing with good intelligence. All right, so you got immediacy, intensity, and intelligence. You know, those 3 things, sustained for 60 minutes to a high standard, that's the challenge. And you have to make a choice and decision to do that. And it doesn't just happen in the game. It's got to be a habit. If you practice at a high level all the time, you'll be able to play in the game at a high level all the time. If you don't do it in practice and you think you're going to be able to do it in a game, probably not going to happen. And, you know, we keep harping, we keep teaching. Every time we get the opportunity to point out to a player, this is an opportunity for you to learn how to sustain better in the game, we want to try to do it.
Tony?
Jalen Milroe seems like he's more comfortable at both on and off the field, just in a more relaxed maybe. Do you notice that? And if so, how has that helped him, you know, with his
Well,
position?
I think it's a lot to do with confidence, and I think it has to do with experience. You know, an experience is nothing but an accumulation of all the mistakes that we made in the past, right? I mean, that's all of us, me, you guys, everybody. So when you learn from all those things, which Jaylen has, and he's done a really good job of that, and you stay positive, then you start to develop confidence, because, you know, you start making plays and doing things right on a more consistent basis. And I think it makes you feel good about yourself, and it makes you impact other people around you because of the way you carry yourself. And I think that's started to happen, and, you know, hopefully we can continue to build on that.
Coach, on Monday you outlined LSU's skill position players with so many different great skill position players. What kind of challenge does that present the defense, and how much challenging that is that on you as far as personnel packages for your defense?
Well, you know, they got a lot of good players, and I think that if you single out one guy from a skill standpoint, even though number 8's been phenomenal, you know, all year, so is number 11. They got some other guys. The tight end's a really good player. The running back's a really good player. The quarterback's a really good player. So what it comes down to is everybody's sort of got a personal challenge that they have to, you know, get their job done, all 11 guys. I mean, the guy's rushing, got to keep the guy in the pocket so he can't take off running or scramble. The guy's covering, got to cover. When he scrambles, they got to plaster their guy so that we don't give up big plays, you know, on the scrambles, whether it's runs or passes. So it just takes 11 guys that really are out there doing their job every play at a very high level, because you're going to play against really, really good players, and you got to be able to play the next play. I mean, it doesn't matter when you play in games like this. All right, to me, the most important thing is the other team's going to make some plays, we're going to make some plays. But we have to respond to the next play. You know, no matter what happened on the last play, we made a good play, we got to respond to the next play. We gave up a play, we got to respond to the next play. That's on offense, that's on defense. And, you know, going back to Jaylen, that's important for him too, because we're not going to have success on every play that we run on offense. All right, but how you respond to those things help you sort of stack some positives, all right, and not get frustrated. Don't get down on yourself. Just keep on focusing on the next play. All right, what's happening now? This next play is the most important thing, and do that one play at a time for 60 minutes in the game. That's what everybody's got to do.
Last one, real quick, right here. Yeah, Kirk.
Thank you. Coach, thinking about scouting reports because of Michigan maybe, but I wonder, I know you do scouting reports on offense, defense, so forth. Is there any chance that with the SEC having officiating crews that you would have a scouting report on officiating crews?
Yeah, we have a scouting report on every crew.
And coach it during the week?
Well, we let the players know that, you know, these guys call a lot of holding, these guys call a lot of pass interference, you know, these guys call whatever they call. It's just a historical background. It's not a criticism or anything. It's just, you know, this referee really protects the quarterback. I mean, so. I mean, it's just a little bit of knowledge about what the history is. And I guess that's all a scouting report really is, right? Is history. And you know, I think our officials, you know, really try to do a good job, and it's a tough job. You know, I've talked about that before. You know, my dad was an official when I was a little kid. I used to go to basketball games, and he used to get booed as a referee, and I used to go to baseball games, and he was an umpire, and people would be, you know, yelling and screaming at them. So I kind of have a different kind of respect for, you know, what officials do and how hard a job it really is. And I know our guys have a lot of pride in what they do, and they try to do the best job they can.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.